welcome to Talking Bottom Does the Young Ones. I'm Ange Pearson.
I'm Paul Tanter.
I'm Matt Brooks.
And this week is episode 6 of the first series of The Young Ones. It's Flood. It first aired on the 14th of December 1982. And in Flood, we are greeted not by the students in the familiar world that we're used to seeing them in. We begin in the garden with the Witchfinder General holding a trial that is all being viewed through the window by Rick. It's very, very surreal opener to this episode, isn't it? It sets up that it's a Narnia style. You know, it's that fantasy world that we begin in, and it doesn't ever really veer away from that. We keep constantly going back to these weird little side worlds like fantasies.
This opening with the seriousness of the main guy with his very serious face, even though he's a comedian, the silliness of the others with their voices, the costumes, it feels very Monty Python.
Oh yes, yeah. And the chanting of the Dominus ad nauseum, isn't it? Like that, and that means, I think, basically Dominus means Lord or God, and then obviously ad nauseum means to the point of being sick. So that's what their chances. That's an opening gag, and it's very Python, as you say, and all the, as you say, that kind of Witchfinder world, medieval style costumes. It's Hale and Pace, it's Frost and Arden.
And the Hale and Pace, one of those two gets actual bits saying like jumps in the pit and stuff, but the Vyvyan boys are just in the background doing fuck all, being treated as extras.
They do get a couple of lines, don't they?
No, I don't think so. They get some lines in the comic section.
I think at the very first bit they get just a couple of, like, it's literally a couple of words, but it's you're right, Hale and Pace take over in this one more so.
The Witchfinder was a comic called Peter Weir, and the guy who then is on trial was Arnold Brown, who's a very famous alternate comic.
And why not? It was his catchphrase.
Oh, was that him?
Why not?
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's two stereotypes for one, Scottish and Jewish, I think. That's his opening
I think
bit.
that was part of his act, wasn't it?
It's really random though, isn't it, that he does that piece to camera and we haven't seen Rick or Neil or Vyvyan or Mike yet. And of course then it gets undercut. Again, a bit kind of Python is the hitting yourself in the head with the frying pan.
I love that there's no payoff for that as well, because he brings up, like, it's like he's doing it for attention, and then when he's done it 3 or 4 times, Mike says, "Oh, come here, Neil. We want to know why I'm hitting myself on the head with a frying pan." No.
Well, and so they're both doing things for attention there, aren't they? Because Rick's whole, look, I'm pretending to have my face glued to the window. No, I'm not. That and Neil's, I'm banging on the head, is just like a kid coming into the room with their hands behind their back going, I haven't got anything in my hands. Please ask me what I'm doing.
Again, it's a linked theme here is boredom. That Rick's bored, they're bored, he's looking out the window. I mean, presumably Neil's bored, so he's trying to get attention. I mean, that seems to me like he's doing a penance of some kind, isn't it? It's some kind of thing that he's punishing himself, like self-flagellation.
It's interesting that Rick's, I fooled you, falls completely flat as well.
Oh yeah, no, none of them are impressed by any of his shtick.
It's a little bit of a precursor to the comic book segment where Rick describes what Neil done is, Neil's just biffed himself in the head with a frying pan. Biffed himself in the head.
Yeah, again, there's a squabbling between Vyvyan and Rick that we start with very, very quickly over the comic.
It's proper brother-sister stuff there, isn't it?
Definitely. And I do love that he's like, again, it's a bit kind of Richie, that kind of inner thing. He's like sneering at the comic and then he's like, that's mine.
Yeah.
So,
but their argument even includes the line, I'm going to tell. Now, it's not I'm going to tell on you, but I'm going to tell Mike that you like men. That's like proper kids, isn't it?
Proper kids. I mean, obviously, there's a real back and forth about basic homophobic language from Vyvyan, diving straight into it. I really like the difference in Rick, the student, between Richard, in that he doesn't over-the-toply say, how dare you accuse me of being a homosexual, does he, Rick, the student? He is forward thinking.
He's trying to be more sensitive, isn't he?
He is. And he does, obviously he does between, obviously it's the touching each other's bottoms that is the bit that you don't like. But he is very, actually almost mature when he has this argument with Vyvyan that is, there's nothing wrong with a man loving another man.
But that's him being the Rick, the virtue signaler, isn't it?
Yeah, the peace.
When you dig down into it, he will then follow it up with, it's only when they start touching each other's bottom. Yes. So that actually I find vile,
Yeah, but he doesn't go complete, how like Richie would be like, I've never done it with a bloke, it's an interesting difference in the character of Rick the student, I think, and Richard that eventually they become, like, he in his youth, Rick the student is actually this progressive, like he wants to come across as that anyway, even if he's just doing it to prove a point to Vyvyan, who is, reducing it to you're a puff.
I love how when Rick jumps up and waves his bottom, it's in the exact same manner that Eddie does in the dating bureau episode of Eddie Hitler here, come and get it. It's the same little bum wiggle.
Yeah, but it is. I mean, it is very immature in terms of what they are talking about. It's very brother sister or brother brother kind of fight, isn't it? It's just like, and that's my bottom, isn't it?
Yeah, and also
they
they are literally arguing over a comic book.
Yes,
as well.
Exactly. Yeah. It's very childish, but I liked that distinction between his characterization.
They could have bonded over as well, because Rick, that is his comic book, and Vyvyan clearly actually wants to read it.
Yeah.
So he's showing a bit of interest in something that Rick has. Could have been a bonding moment for the pair of them.
But,
of course, it doesn't happen.
And in the end, he rips it.
He rips it in half. Yeah.
Which, again, very Big Brother kind of thing to do.
Is it this early on that Rick says, "I'm so bored I can listen to Genesis"?
Yes.
Right? Now, this is, of course, foreshadowing, because the Great Flood occurs in the book of Genesis in the Bible. And then we have a Great Flood. So I think this is why Genesis... I think it's a coincidence.
There is some Bible stuff at the very end with the Special Patrol Group has got the olive branch in his mouth, like the dove at the end of...
Well, the Great Flood, it is...
Yeah.
London has flooded.
Mike references Original Sin later on, which, by the way, is one of the best gags in the entire series, but goes completely over everyone's heads.
I think, isn't it? Well, do you take my apple? If you're going to be if I'm going to sin, it might as well be original.
Yeah,
or something.
that's a great joke.
Well, I'm not doing that because that's not original to do that. And then...
No, it's a reference to Adam and Eve.
Yes, but Mike is saying, well, I'm not going to... If I was going to sin, I'd be original. I'm not going to be ripping off the first ever sin. So, I'm going to look for the pits. That'll show you.
I think, I wouldn't say there's an overt religious connotation to this flood that is happening in London, but it is apocalyptic, isn't it? And that, they do touch upon that as a theme. Obviously we've had war and pestilence and famine, like the four horsemen of the apocalypse. I'm going into Red Dwarf now, but
nuclear bomb as well. Another episode.
They touch upon these, quite literally apocalyptic, catastrophic, like the extremes. That's where the comedy lies in the Young Ones, isn't it? It's like we're pushing things to the extreme. And obviously, we've got climate change that feels a lot more real to us in the era we're in now.
Be a relatively new discovery. Climate change in the 80s, would it?
I think they would have been talking about, obviously, the possibilities of climate change and how it's going to damage the planet. I think we've known about it for fucking years, and people did nothing about it, and still doing nothing about it. But it's that very real thing that the Thames might break its banks now.
Did you notice in the pilot episode,
Neil shouts out to the guys like, making dinner or breakfast or something, but no one's going to eat it, and might as well get a cat and give it to the cat, guys. And guys, you're not listening to me. He mentions we should get a cat. In this episode, they mentioned the kitty, which is a term for the collective term of money, but it's a cat that's fed money or something and shits out money.
Just coins.
So they have gotten the cat.
Well, and then he also acquires some because it's raining cats and dogs. He comes in holding a cat, doesn't he? I've never known it to rain like this before.
And
another great joke, I've got to say.
And it doesn't get audibly mentioned. That is just a visual gag. So it treats the audience quite intelligently, because we've had the spitting and pissing down first.
Yeah. So it's only spitting. That prop of gob,
because
in
that's
the
not
pint glass
spit, that's phlegm.
Is wonderful. It's like the ectoplasm in Ghostbusters. There's like a bit of stringiness coming off of it.
Vile,
it's an excellent representation of gob.
And the thing is, it works because that's Vyvyan, isn't it? And then later on, it's like, it's pissing down now, and you expect the payoff to come from Vyvyan, don't you? But then it is just that Neil very, very subtly is taking like puppies and cats out of his pocket.
Do you know the kitty doing stand-up is voiced by... Is that going to be a quiz question? Voiced by Ben Elton.
Yes.
Is it? I was going to say I thought it sounds very Ben.
So when...
50p's, 10p.
I think the Marvel Cinematic Universe has missed out by not having the People's Poet superhero. I think that's a comic book superhero that should be introduced into that world.
You don't really think this?
No.
I didn't cotton on until this time watching it. He's in his pilot outfit. Not as in flying a plane.
Yeah.
He's in the red tie, which is in the pilot episode. Only time we've ever seen
because it's his poet costume, isn't it?
The People's Poet.
Yeah, of course. And they are allowed to wear the clothes again.
What do the cops say to Mark Arden and Stephen Frost, who like being treated as kids, were all clearly like guys in their late 20s at the youngest. He refers to you gay black bastards. What?
Does anyone?
That's the stereotypical thing
Again,
that they'd
they're not
say,
wearing
yeah.
sunglasses,
I
these
was,
coppers, though,
I
I
was,
don't think.
I was trying to work
No.
out who the copper was and whether
Yeah.
it was the same guy from the other episode. I don't think it
Jim
was though.
Barkley is
Right.
who Ed
Mhm.
and Paul on the commentary think it
Okay,
is,
right.
but I can't tell. It's so small on
Yeah,
the thing.
it's a
I
bit
can't
pixely.
tell.
Yeah.
I don't know, actually. It might be on IMDb, but yeah,
Mm.
it was Jim Barkley who played the racist
Yeah.
copper
Mhm.
in episode 4.
Now, and this obviously follows on. We had the racist copper in episode 4. Rick the Poet is referencing things like the Black and White Minstrel Show. Young Ones, this episode went out in 1982. Black and White Minstrel Show had only stopped showing on the BBC in 1978. So it's only been 4 years since there was literally blackface on British TV.
Mhm. Well, I mean, not that it went away immediately then, really. It came back
Right.
in various guises, didn't it? But as part of the joke, the Black and White Minstrel Show reference and then Barry Manilow as the other undercutting thing of what the
Yeah.
pigs would want to be watching is I love Rick's poem in this one. I mean, obviously it's ridiculous that
Yeah.
would make the police
the
cower.
power to the man.
Do you really give a fig, pig? Like it's very
Yeah.
it's very Cliff, isn't it?
Off.
Like
And it's obviously Adam West Batman with
Yeah.
the captions, the onomatopoeia words, punctuating the violence.
yeah, kapow,
Yeah.
all that. Yeah, I love that little sequence. It feels like again, it's like the opening titles to Grange Hill, isn't it?
Yeah, and then in his face while he's thinking of that, while Rick's visualizing this,
yeah.
he's fucking loving. It's like, yeah, this is what I'm like. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the people's poet.
That's what he
No
imagines.
one has even read a poem of his. I bet no one has voluntarily read one of his poems. They've only heard them when he's said them at them. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
fucking boring man.
But
So
that's
funny.
his dream, isn't
Uh-huh.
it? That he'll be able to fight off the fascists
Yeah.
with his poetry.
And Stephen Frost towering above everyone else, like being victimized by the police. Oh, thank you, people's poet. I like how they all kind of mumble the lines at the end.
yeah.
They will never bother
Well,
us.
yeah, it's like watching kids do the nativity play, isn't it?
Yes.
We're gonna mumble this, and we're all losing our confidence as we do the
But,
last
like,
bit of the line.
even in Rick's fantasy, they're not really all that behind him.
In fact, yeah, Rick has a similar ability for fantasy that Arnold Rimmer has. In that this is your fantasy and it's still going wrong.
Yeah.
So now they do something here, or they portray something that is very emblematic of shared housing, shared living when you're a student, and also in those years afterwards, which is, have you guys ever lived in a house with other people where you've had to label your fucking food and where people still eat your fucking
Not
food?
that level of it, but we've had a shelf each stuff, but labeling your food seems a level of pedanticness.
I
which
have
is
never
ridiculous.
labelled food,
No.
and thankfully I've never lived with anyone who labels food. I've been in workplaces where people have put sticky labels on their food, and I had things in the fridge, they went missing, but I would never put sticky labels on. Or mark off where like like you could put like a pen where the milk was and all that kind of stuff got you. Like there's so much pettiness that goes on. But it's absolutely Rick, isn't it? That Rick would be the one to put sticky labels on.
But you
with his
have to
name
be
on.
right. You have to be petty. If you start
So
with
you have, Paul.
no, I don't think I've put labels on stuff, but I've lived in houses before where people nick your food. And it's like you're an adult, you know what you bought, you know what is yours in the fridge or cupboard, and you know what's not yours. When you say you're a vegetarian and then you come in and you eat all Paul's ham, how the hell can you pretend that you didn't know that was someone else's?
I think milk is
This feels
communal.
very specific.
That you shouldn't have several pints of milk in it for everyone
No.
else. Stuff like
if
that.
you buy milk for if you buy milk, it's not communal, it's yours. And I won't take your milk.
No.
It's not communal.
I don't think say there's 4 housemates, you can't have 4 pints of milk
I'm
in
glad,
there. It's crazy.
I'm glad we've never lived together.
That's what
but
the fridge is for.
But what I will say is, as a house, you need to have a house meeting quite early on, and you need to say, okay, are we going to be communal with the milk? Do we all like semi-skimmed? And if you all do, then it is on each of you to in turn buy milk, because you're not going to have 4 different types of
there
milk
would
in
be
unless-
someone whose turn. Oh, it's never my turn to buy milk. That would happen, I'm sure.
What happens is you'll have 4 people will agree, okay, we'll all take it in turns, and then there'll be someone who goes, oh no, I don't want any milk this week, I'm not buying any, or I just can't be bothered. And then everyone
help
will start
themselves.
buying their own individual pints.
Guys, look at us squabbling. That's why you have a kitty. And that's why they have a kitty.
And then someone goes, or they forget to contribute to it this week, and the whole system falls apart.
We know it's Neil who's contributing to the kitty in this house, but yes, it appeals to the nature of anyone who's ever been a student. Because it is true that people do rob all your stuff, and I love the pettiness of Neil knowing, because he's the mother, like everyone's bit in the fridge and who belongs to what. It's like this glob of green mold on a saucer is Rick's. I mean, how brilliant is that line?
He spat on it.
Yeah.
So I would suggest you don't eat it.
And then they top it with Rick being like, yes, and out of spite, I've spat on that, Vyvyan. But I love how Vyvyan actually just going back when Rick says, like, my sticky labels with my name on, and Vyvyan very, very obviously is taking the piss. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's like
I didn't realise that
the character is acting at that point. I love those little moments. I'm very sorry, Rick. I'm thinking every single bit.
He's not sorry whatsoever. It's so fun.
And like the playing dumb, like, oh, hang on. They're the ones with Rick written on it. Yes.
And then,
that makes sense now.
And then what would Vyvyan have in the fridge? I love that it's a urine sample.
Yeah.
And then Super Moose. Is that for his
his hair? It's got to be for his hair, right? Yeah.
Is
How
that
did
what
you
that
keep
is?
that in the fridge? That's all that occurred to me.
Okay,
Just keep it cold.
Because he spikes his hair up, doesn't he?
So but why does he need it? Why does he need to be cold?
No idea.
I thought mousse, that would be like, a chocolate mousse,
That's
super
it,
mousse.
like Super Moose. I wasn't
Super
sure, because
Moose.
obviously you would need it for his spiky hair. But
It's going back quick, isn't it? Since last episode. I like that just before that bit when Neil comes in and like, where's the breakfast? Vyvyan's like, yeah, where's the vindaloo?
Yeah.
That's what he's having.
So last week was a very fast-paced episode with very short interlude bits.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think of the binoculars bit, which is a bit like it's a bit like a Waiting for Godot bit.
And also he sounds like Eddie.
Of Rick and Ade as two bowler hat wearing neighbours who are spying on their neighbours.
Yeah, they're not spying on the neighbours, they're searching for aliens.
That's it.
They're sort of weird conspiracy theory people.
Do you think they mean aliens as in people who haven't got official papers?
No, I think it's space aliens. What I thought. I
think it's immigrant. Like, I think it's people who aren't.
Do you think these characters are the early versions of Ice?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think they are, but they're very, very hopeless.
I really see a lot of Richie and Eddie in them. A bit of estragon and blah blah blah. I forget the fucking names. I pretend to know a lot about that.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Yeah. No, I know.
a lot of Godot in there as well. I think I would have watched at least a longer scene with those two, if not an episode of just those two weird
Vladimir
and Estragon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think those two are quite funny together, and the binoculars. Well, I love the thing of, can you see anything? No. Nothing? No. Look, why won't you let me take the lens cap off? Funny, Jack. So, well, they're not even real binoculars. No point taking them off. Then why don't you let me take them off? Don't let me. We'll get some real ones.
There's a lot of really good gags in this episode that don't get the laughs that they deserve. I feel like, as you say there, those are good gags. Just like Mike's, if you're going to sin, you might as well be original. There's a lot of stuff that goes, if not over the heads of the audience, it doesn't get the laugh it should do, and then we have to move on quickly to the next one.
Yeah, there's a lot packed in, isn't there? And I think that does happen in other episodes, but this one it does feel it. It's like, you're trying to keep the doctor away, and Rick's like, well, if it's anything like you, yes.
And then the joke falls flat on purpose.
But he's so pleased with himself.
Yes, he's a real shit-eating grin that he's done it, and then move on.
And then again, the pettiness of Rick. He's going to go and look in Mike's bin for the pips.
Yeah,
he's going to find him
and
out.
I imagine, here they are. I knew you ate them. I knew you ate. It's half an apple as well.
Exactly. And then the brilliant thing about this episode, of course, is that there is no musical interlude, because the variety section of the show was fulfilled by having real fucking lions in the studio.
There's a little bit of comping of green screen, but they were in the studio.
I was listening to the commentary, and that had never ever occurred to me, that they were really there in the studio, and that was how they fulfilled the variety budget that week. Yeah. That is amazing.
You don't miss that there's no band, do you?
No, you don't miss that you don't miss that there's a band. But the mind boggles that they actually had those lions come into the studio. I was listening to the commentary. I was like, are they taking the piss? I thought they're really they're being sarky here, and then they're going to go, of course not. And then it's like, no, they were walking up the studio, and I'll never forget the faces of everyone.
So
what?
So we should say, obviously in the scenes where like Rick opens his bedroom door and we see the lions, and then similarly when Alexei Sale later on opens it and runs in, those are comped on green screen, whatever color screen, chroma key. It's done by you film the lions, then you put that footage over the blue or green or whatever.
Yeah, in the
that's behind
commentary, they say that's really there. They opens a door. Like, no, it isn't.
No,
you can
no.
see the kind of the
Yeah,
outline.
I think they
around
were
it.
misremembering
Yeah,
that was what
they
but the-
really filmed.
Yeah.
That in front of a studio audience is what they mean.
Yeah.
Which is incredible, isn't it? That I don't know how they got that signed off.
3 lions, I think, isn't there?
Yes, it's 2 ladies and a male lion.
Right, 3 lions in.
I like the
lions,
fact they're ladies,
lionesses,
and the lion tamer as well, of course. Which, as they say, it's probably a job that's dying out these days. I don't know how many lion tamers there still are, but
I wanted to be a lion tamer.
That character dies off screen as well, doesn't he? Because he's got his
that's
hand.
his hand. I'd like to shake his hand.
So he obviously wasn't that good a one once Alexei got involved.
Right, I've got a couple of articles here. One's a roundup of TV from the 14th of November 1982 by Elkin Allen in the Mail on Sunday. On other channels, I cheered the return of Yes Minister with a deliciously observed episode about the recruitment of more women into the top grades of the civil service. Nothing has changed, thank goodness. But I hated the new sitcom The Young Ones, Tuesday BBC Two. This is supposed to be about 4 male students sharing a flat, but none of them seem even remotely studious and were merely excuses to parade stereotypes, punk, mod, ex-flower power, smoothie, with the weakest of humour and the most revolting of surreal touches. One of these offered us a close shot of the body of a severed rat being eaten by another. That's funny? ?
Yes.
And then moves on to a show called Genius Like Us.
And that's the pilot they're talking about with the dead rat, isn't it?
All right, okay. Yeah, there you go. That was, this was for the first series they were talking about.
Studious.
Not to everyone's taste, clearly, at the time. The New Standard, the article is called All Mod Coms and the Liquid Laugh. TV sitcoms, boring. Don't you has-beens ever watch The Young Ones? Slowly but surely, television comedy has been catching up. For years and years, and that's before inflation, comrades, a necessary precondition of comedy being broadcast was that it be 10 years behind current comedy trends. Jokes went into quarantine for a decade before being allowed on the BBC, and, while cracks rattled out at furious pace in the clubs, good old light entertainment plodded on with the same 3 bad old gags. Luckily, the arrival of ITV, a channel briefed and primed for muck and brass, designed to make even a quiz show plumb the sex life of a Guinea contestant pig.
What?
Guinea
contestant pig?
A Guinea contestant pig. A channel that was at least prepared to dig dirty. Luckily, good old market forces kicked the BBC and television comedy into some sort of contemporary shape. Today, mod comedy sometimes even starts on TV. What? BBC Two's The Young Ones is no messing, magnificent TV comedy, slung out on a Tuesday evening at 9 o'clock in competition with that other real stormer, The News. The Young Ones is very possibly the best crack on offer anywhere. Leastways, it sets the pace for comedy everywhere else. Born out of London's comic strip and incorporating Alexei Sale, Rick Mel, Andy Delatorre, Jim Barclay, and other alternative cabaret refugees.
First mention.
The series has forged itself into a crucial presence. The gags wrought around the relationship between Neil, Rick, and Vyvyan are reliably wonderful. The characters knock and tussle and spill a sublime comic momentum. Neil is great, Rick is great, Vyvyan is great. What more can you say? so someone's omission there speaks volumes. The crucial 3 rattle through idiosyncratic verbals. The script is an aggressive rush of diatribe, all put down in insults, rut-ridden domestic rows turned comic dialectic. Mike, the 4th member, played by Canadian midget Christopher Ryan.
What? It's not Canadian?
Is the only visible corpse. Oddball, but too forced to be really odd enough. Mike doesn't seem to know what it is exactly that he's doing in The Young Ones. Neither do I. Like a Tears for Fears or Talk, bland and asinine, but not lame-brain trashy enough, Mike is an embarrassment. Oh, God, this is a bit off.
Yeah.
But Kinnell, petty complaints matter nout when you've such a team, with an exclamation mark after team. Nigel Planer plays Neil, the hippie wretched fool to Rick Mail's neurotic hectoring psycho vegan. Alexei Sale as the Belowski family is glorious. Ade Edmondson as Vyvyan is even better. Vyvyan is television's most consistently excusable violent hitman. Consistent because he always gets his man. Excusable because it's the nauseous Rick that gets it. Gate-crashing front room conversations and wreaking self-inflicted damage. Every terse one-liner is a winner. Vyvyan's opening gambits are superlative. Ade Edmondson gets the best scripted entrances in television. Vyvyan is the world's first punk TV star. Written indeed by Ben Elton, Lee Lisa Mayer and Rick Mail, The Young Ones is blessed with an excellent production team. Using music, brash FX, and clever ployment of video, they've put together a raw adventure. Like the Goon show before it, the program features contemporary music, the best in pop appearing as an integrated intervention. Unlike the Goons, however, The Young Ones never lets on, never lets up the manic edge. It's a complete performance, it's a real show. It's the first all-mod con. George Martin, former Goon producer, could recently be heard lamenting mod comedy's underlying viciousness. The truth is, it's been there all along. The point is, the BBC has carefully censored the comic vitriol of the clubs, choosing to run instead with more welcome but homely wackiness like the Goons and Hancock's Half Hour. You only have to search out the evidence of Frank Randall. Only have a look back at the cartoons of Will Hope to realise that vicious humour has always been with us. It's just that radio and television have always been someplace else. What do you think of that? I mean, like, it much like maybe we have been in our previous episodes, was a bit harsh to Mike. But I think
I was thinking, I really do feel for Chris Ryan that he came in, took on a job that, was unknown to him to be one of the best loved sitcoms that was going to come out of the 80s, and it wasn't a character that had been written for him.
It's a poison chalice, isn't it? As we said before, the other three actors are arriving with characters fully formed almost that they've been playing before on stage in clubs. So the other one is going to be slightly underwritten. It's going to be slightly more ambiguously performed, I guess. But that seemed to kind of appreciate what the BBC was doing in terms of putting it on and taking risks and
that the individual characters of Rick, Vyvyan, and Neil are fantastic comedy characters. That obviously, I don't think Rick is a vegan; he's a vegetarian.
No, I think there's a few mistakes in there. Yeah.
But the essence of what they're all about is there and understood. So who was that?
That was in the New Standard. I don't know who the author was,
and it
unfortunately.
was what published after the second episode went out.
I assume so. I don't have a date for it, but it would have been some point during the first series. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, fair enough. And I do think there's a lot to be said for. I think I was kind of touching on it from that idea of like the upper class / middle class kind of values of like university life. And like sort of going underneath that, and there are a lot of there's a lot of working class people that were getting places at university, and that there was grime and grot, and it's not all sort of like
Rick talking about how he got his place,
doffing our caps to the master and all that. Like, it's actually education and the people in which that you were mixing with at university were a real mixture of characters, filth, grime, all of that. It's like it's real life up on screen, isn't it? Even though it's exaggerated, of course. This is a portrayal of British life that had not been seen before in that much of a grimy, horrible way. Obviously, you have things like Steptoe and Son, which I bang on about all the time. And one of the beautiful things about that is how much grime and grot is there. And that's what they were emulating in The Young Ones. And it's one of the reasons it's one of the best sitcoms that's ever been written.
I've got this final one here, which is, this must have been after one of the first episodes. Time out, 15th of October 1982. Young, Twisted and Daft. Monty Python for the 1980s. The Likely Lads meets Boonwell. Frank Barrett reports on a new BBC sitcom. What the Goons did to the 1950s and Monty Python achieved in the 1970s, The Young Ones, a new BBC comedy series starting this month, looks set to do for the 1980s. It might seem premature to label it as a cult, but those of the BBC involved in its production and others who have seen it are confident that the programme will rapidly become compulsive viewing. This 6-part sitcom is the joint effort of a group of young comedians who have made their name in the alternative comedy cabaret, The Comic Strip. The series is co-written by Rick Mail, half of the 20th Century Coyote Act, and already seen on TV as his alter ego Kevin Turvey. Ben Elton and Lisa Mayer. The main performers are Mail, Nigel Planer, half of the Outer Limits Act, Ade Edmondson, and the other half of 20th Century Coyote, Chris Ryan. I think they're getting this wrong here. Yeah. Currently starring in Can't Pay, Won't Pay, and Alexei Sale, probably the best known of the group through his appearances on the ill-fated OTT. Happily, the basic storyline of The Young Ones is less complicated than its writing and performance credits. The plot ostensibly concerns 4 students. Where and what they study isn't revealed. In a squalid North London flat, the contents of The Young Ones is a compelling mixture of anarchic humour and surrealism, a sort of cross between Bunwell again and the Likely Lads. Alexei Sale, for example, appears as several characters in the Eastern European family of the student's landlord, but he also breaks out of character to deliver one of his famous aggressive routines. There are also asides in the programme, one of which, for example, studies the life of a dust bug of the groove of a Cliff Richard record, while music is also a regular feature of the programme, with appearances by bands such as Madness, 9 Below Zero, and Dexy's Midnight Runners.
That is a very interesting thing from Time Out, that they could already see that it was, the next generation's Python.
It's the obvious comparison, definitely.
Yeah.
I like the precursor on playing with conventions of establishing things when they find the potion.
Oh, Chekov's can of Coke.
Yes, he's like, I put it in a can of Cokes and no one drinks it by mistake. That's a funny line. And then Neil's, you know what?
I bet someone
does.
It's
and then he just leaves it on the top as well.
Yeah.
Great. You can see it come a mile off. You're meant to. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Love it. I
like that they're getting very self-referential with this one, aren't they?
And
that's just the kind of thing that happens in this
Rick,
house.
he was like, me too. I agree. This is the crazy things that happen in this house, like a review of his own sitcom he's in. Don't you agree, everyone? And then not joining in, and he's pissed off again. Oh, fucking I was trying to...
They
was
do
ostracized.
seem to really be enjoying themselves by this episode, don't they, though? I mean, the chemistry between them all is absolutely there.
I think this episode stacks really well because when the flood and then the axe-wielding homicidal maniac that's trapped in with them, when that's happened, those two things are plot on their own, but they're already pissed off with each other and already at each other's throats. And then there's the kind of subplot of there's no food, so we need to eat each other. So it's all these things on top of each other, and it all kind of comes to a crescendo at the end. Wonderful, the Narnia bit as well. Yeah. I saw that before I knew what the Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe
was. Oh, really?
Was. Okay. I had no idea what the fuck that was. And by like the 50th time rewatching it, my mum was like, "Oh, that's the Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe."
So you didn't realise that? Oh, okay, because that's interesting. Because I did actually only notice on the rewatch when they mentioned the lions.
Yes.
And the witch goes, a lion?
Yeah. And also, that doesn't make sense. Like, you see a wimpy sociology student being chased by a lion. That's not what's happened.
This whole bit of the fantasy land must have seemed even more weird and out there to you then if you've never heard of the C.S. Lewis
didn't get what that was.
And the Turkish delight and everything. Like,
yeah,
that didn't
I didn't know that was a reference as well. And I
love that he's like, have you not got any kebabs?
I fucking hate Turkish delight. I'm very, very unfussy. It's one of the few foods I will no.
I don't think many people absolutely love a Turkish delight. I've always found it
weird
an odd
consistencies,
thing
like kind of jelly powdered with not sugar.
It's weird that it's seen as some kind of delicacy. And they've managed to market themselves in the same way that what's the ambassador's chocolate one?
Oh, Ferrero Rocher.
Yeah.
Well, I think Turkish delight harks back ever so longer than Ferrero Rocher does as a consumable. But it's an opulent thing at the end of a meal, isn't it? It's a very odd thing that she's got a whole tray of it. I think it's just because it kind of looks snow drenched, isn't it? That's why they would have chosen it. And it's quite exotic, isn't it? It's that idea of, have you ever tried Turkish delight, child? Like, I haven't tried it till I was... Like, I don't know.
And the kid in Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe yums it down. He's like, yummy, and all the globby shit is in his mouth. Looks disgusting.
Yeah, no.
I've got a friend that would call it
coffee, isn't it?
I've got a friend that would call Turkish delight Turkish grief. I think it's a very good description.
And of course, there is also Greek delight. So I've always thought it's interesting that it's just known universally as Turkish delight. And now it's time for a word from our sponsor.
Fries Turkish delight. Fries Turkish delight. Fries Turkish delight. Fries Turkish delight.
Exotic, delicious, full of Eastern promise.
Anyway, this little bit had also the return of Michael Rappaport, who was Fatumsh in a previous episode. Coming back.
Started. Yes.
Shirley is his character.
He is Shirley in this one. We've learnt that from the quiz. But he's quite aggressive, isn't he?
I love that people who do that should be tied up with string. That's a weird detail and all this stuff. Who says 4 a week? Who says she does? Got Justine Lord as the White Witch.
It is a very random thing that obviously goes into wardrobe, and I love the hide and seek. Like actually, this episode, like everything does tie together really well, doesn't it? It doesn't feel like the random ideas; they are linked. And obviously, the flood that's happening outside isn't even noticed until like Vyvyan's car's kind of like going.
Yes, that's when you notice. Well, the episode's called Flood, so we were all expecting it.
Well, we are.
Yes,
but
you're right. The car going past.
Yes,
on a
that
studio.
happens
That's a
quite late
fucking
on.
good effect, actually, because it's quite subtle.
Yeah.
Really?
Unless they
You don't
filmed it
see
and then
a...
put it on. But
I
yeah,
mean,
you're right. It's
that window through the course of the episode sees quite a few effects, doesn't it? We get the car, and then later on, we
Frogman,
through a chroma, through a green or blue screen chroma key effect. Ed Bye has gone out. Oh, they had stock footage of sharks, and then Ed Bye said he spent like an entire day filming a frogman, like scuba diving in a tank
5
for like a
seconds.
few seconds of going past the
Now,
window.
you said that you can see the fifth housemate floating outside at one
it
point.
is
I
there.
can't
Yeah,
see the
it's
bit you
very,
mean.
very brief. So, I mean, I'll find the article and I'll share it with you and we
Alright.
can share it
At
because
which
there is a
point?
screen grab.
Okay.
I can't say that I spied it even, but there
Yeah.
is a very, very brief
Yeah.
like screen grab where you can see them
Okay.
going by. So yeah, that's obviously that she's been
Mhm.
spirited away in the flood, but she's not in series 2, is she?
No, so she died,
Mm.
drowned there. Mike's costume in this episode put me in mind of Del Boy. a
Oh,
bit.
really?
Yeah,
Okay,
the sort of
yeah.
suit, kind of the waistcoat, open shirt, dog tags.
Yeah, was he
kind of
doing his
thing.
accounts at the
He is.
beginning, isn't he?
He's doing
Yeah.
his accounts.
So
What?
it's that
what?
kind of yuppie. It's the yuppie
Yeah.
kind of look, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun hearing Paul and Ed talk about how they achieve certain things in the episode, isn't it? I mean, the
Yeah.
idea they spent an entire day filming
that.
for that.
I think that
couple
would
of
have been
seconds.
Ed would have been out doing second unit stuff, so
Yeah.
Paul Jackson wouldn't have been with him for
Yeah.
that.
Should
But
have
yeah,
been an underwater studio.
But
I
like-
You
suppose,
do
right?
get a feel for how much money they spent. They do talk about this in the commentary. We don't want to just quote what you
the-
can hear in the Blu-ray
the-
commentary,
the
but
technical achievement of
Mm.
okay, Vyvyan sets Rick's bed on fire, which by the way I love Neil's response of that's really selfish. I was hiding in there. What if I'd been caught?
Yeah.
Not if what if someone had died. Or a
Yeah,
house
not
burned
if
down.
I'd have hurt myself.
great
I
gag.
could have been caught.
But the technical achievement of and they talk about this in the commentary of okay, that bed's actually on fire. That's a real effect. Rick opens the window to which
Yeah.
means there's a water tank behind there that has
Yeah.
to let it through. That comes through, and then you have things like
And the
we've got
fish.
an animatronic fish
Yeah.
flapping in Rick's out of Rick's shirt, which I think he punches to death years before Neil in Inbetweeners. So all of these things.
I think he stabs it with a biro, I think.
All of
But
these things are such complicated technical stuff, and it's in a BBC sitcom in a studio. It's brilliant.
Live in front of an
In
audience.
front of an audience, yeah.
One
And they were
take a lot
saying-
of the
so-
times.
I wanted to just ponder because I don't know the exact answer to this, but obviously they were saying because they had the the variety budget, they had 2 days, they actually had double what a sitcom episode would usually have per one. How
1.5.
much do you reckon they actually did have as a budget? Like, what do you reckon that was in the 80s? Because I've heard, I think around now, if you make a sitcom, episode, it's about $250,000 an episode.
Per episode.
Yeah.
Oh, I have
the
no
BBC.
idea.
I've heard that fact before.
I don't
about,
know.
A particular episode of,
Really
of a,
couldn't
a
tell you.
half-hour comedy. So what do you reckon it would have been in the 80s? Like 100k? 50k?
I'm not sure.
It's the budget for the set, isn't it? As they say, like that Narnia set, and then you've got obviously the extra days like out filming.
For such a short bit of joke, hey, we need an entire Narnia set. We need a wardrobe that goes to it. Then we need the set.
Yeah. So I suppose a lot of that was a white void.
And it's going to be for about 60 seconds.
White void and then some trees, some snow stuff. And they did a lot of...
It's all
of it
stuff,
sort
though,
of
it all costs.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing is, it might already exist in the BBC props department if they've already done similar things. So, of course, as they've said, we had access to the greatest, art department.
That's a very good
in the
point.
but
Plus,
it's still a cost.
The witch sat there is in a perfect costume that looks like it's out of a C.S. Lewis thing. She looks like she stepped straight out of that show. All this stuff costs. All this stuff takes time.
We know. I mean, obviously, Lisa says we didn't get paid
Yeah.
much as the writers. So, like, the budget is on screen. And it's Ed is like you can see the money on screen in the young ones, and it is incredible that they didn't know whether they were going to get a second series. That actually the BBC backed this because they were, the flavour of the day is what they were hoping they were going to be, and they were right, of course.
Do you think
But
they'd
it
have
was a
got paid
big
more
risk.
to write series 2? I hope so.
I imagine they would have got
Yeah.
paid a bit more, but still not. I don't
Yeah.
think as much as they should have been.
Alexei Sale drinking from the can of Coke brings on, I think, probably my favourite performance of his throughout the young ones. I love in the previous episode his drunk, but in this
Yeah.
one, I love him being the axe-wielding maniac from The Shining, yelling,
Yeah.
"Here's Jersey."
What I
Yeah.
like, he turns up for the party, which I think is an episode late.
Oh, did he really?
He says,
Okay.
I'm here for the party.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is obviously in all the other ones. It's been his cousins or his brother, or this is actually the landlord back, isn't it?
So
This
I
is
think we only
Jersey.
get 3 appearances of him as the real guy.
And he comes in he comes in expecting there to be a party.
Yeah.
It's like, how does he come in when the place is flooded?
Well,
Like,
I
how
think
come
it's
he's got
still-
in past the...
It's just the cut-off point, I'd imagine.
I know. You have to suspend your disbelief. But it is a fun, as you say, it's a fun part that he plays with this one. Obviously, it's now been pastiched ad infinitum, hasn't it? Ad nauseum. Here's Johnny. But in that, in the 1982 kind of world they were in, I don't think it was tired by then.
That's true. It wouldn't have been that long after the film The Shining had actually come out. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a nice little bit. I mean, the little segue into the halftime report kind of kills the mood, but it was actually kind of needed. It was getting very frantic up until that point, isn't it?
It's a nice counterbalance to Alexi's sales. He's being manic, and now here he is coming and going all calm.
I'm an actor, remember, this is all make-believe. I quite like the bit, it's very much for the rewatch, which is quite forward-thinking of them. Just go back about 5 minutes when everyone's hiding.
Yeah.
Neil, when he goes into Rick's bedroom, Vyvyan comes out, putting out a match because he's just set fire to his sociology file, which you don't find out for another couple of minutes.
Yeah,
that's
it's
a great
there,
detail.
isn't it?
It's a detail that's in there that you can catch on a rewatch, or maybe you'll notice it and you'll be like, hang on, what's he been up to in there? But I do love that he set his bedroom on fire. There's a recurring theme of setting Rick's bedroom on fire.
And it's his sociology file, so that's really vindictive.
Because I love Rick's smug face just before that, because he's kind of found him, he's calling him a cheat and everything, isn't he? And he's so smug, and Viv's like, I've just set fire to your sociology file.
Then he jams a biro into his head, which is very violent for Rick.
Stays there as well.
Stays there for a scene or two after. It's not the whole episode,
and then
but it is.
Brilliant piece where the crowbar gets Rick into the door and has him suspended.
And then he opens the door. Neil comes through. Oh, Rick's bedroom's on fire, and then he goes, "Great!"
Grabs petrol.
You know it's on fire. You did it. And
what shall I grab? I won't grab an extinguisher. I'll grab some petrol to make it even bigger.
It's almost as if Vyvyan, in his own little world or his own mind, has thought, "Well, I've set fire to the sociology file, but that's all that's going to burn." And
it's
he's
his whole
forgotten,
bedroom.
don't you think?
Yeah.
And he's not thought about the fact that then it would obviously transfer to the rest of Rick's room.
But he's just been talking about, I set fire to his fresh, But he was going to murder Rick at that point, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Gets an axe to establish Chekov's axe that's going to be picked up by Alexei Sayle later.
His axe,
Yeah. And then when the door slams shut, Rick falls down. Oh, no, I've hurt my bottom. That's a great bit of choreography, stunt work.
It is.
He falls off.
Yeah, that's the bit where on the commentary Ed and Paul do say, this was where Rick and Aid had started to realise how to play slapstick to the camera, and it is a wonderful little set piece, that, isn't it? Like, it's a perfect little fall to the floor. I don't know how they've achieved it, because Rick would have really hurt himself if he dropped from that height.
I think he just went for it.
Yeah, and so many of these, they just go for it, don't they?
Now, I talked about being packed with gags. They decide to eat Neil. They rush into his room, and within about 30 seconds, we get about 5 brilliant jokes, right? We get Rick doing his scaredy cat, descending into being a kid. But then we get Mike's hold it like this. Neil asking, can I have an anesthetic? Okay, I'm going to hit you on the head.
Time for a last cigarette?
Time for a last cigarette.
Mike has it.
All of those within about, 20 seconds?
They're really, really quick, aren't they?
Yeah.
And the thing is, in isolation, they might be a bit naff, but because they're just playing into it, they all don't get the laugh they really deserve because it's so quick.
Because each one has to move on to the next one. Yeah,
it's very manic at that point.
Don't you love how much Rick's taunting Neil about how I'm being scared?
Oh, look at him scared. He's gonna die.
I'm scared. He is really
I think it's really telling of Neil's character, how he's not sad that he's about to be eaten, and he said, it's just my luck that I drew the shortest straw. Mind you, he's pretty uncool with the guys not to show me there, so he clearly got the largest straw.
I do love that before that. I mean, we're rattling through all kinds of bits back and forth, but Rick's making the cigarette because he's that stressed out. Before that is an unusual one for his character, isn't it? And then obviously that double thing of me, no, him. When they're talking about who they're going to eat. It's very, very fun, this episode. I feel like as an ensemble piece, they are actually, even though they're going to murder Neil and everything, they're kind of working together in a way, like this hide and seek. I know you're kind of out for yourself in hide and seek, but there's just a lot of back and forth between all of them, isn't there?
I actually like Mike's bit where he was hidden, I'm the best hider, go back and get everyone else. I think that's one of Mike's funniest bits.
When Rick has to apologise for finding him.
It's actually a great hiding place, Mike.
It's so fun, that dynamic.
Yeah.
When he says, I'm sorry, Mike, I think he's about to say, I'm sorry, but no, I found you, you're out. But Mike just jumps in with, no, it's fine, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's apologising for finding him.
I don't know.
I can see that way, but I thought it was.
I think
really
Rick is genuinely always trying to
hurt.
impress Mike, and he's the dad, isn't he? So
Yeah.
it's like he genuinely is like, I'm sorry, Mike.
He's been
he's
gaslit
upset
completely
him.
there, and I'm
I-
sorry. Yeah,
I-
you're right. I shouldn't have found you first.
I think he's about to say, "I'm sorry, Mike, but I found you. You're out." And Mike steps on this by going, "No, it's all right, Rick.
Yeah.
It's okay."
I
And at this
can
point,
see
Rick's
that
like,
logic, yeah.
"Okay, he's snookered me now. All right, okay. Hey, Mike." And then he
but then he
snivels up
snaps
to it's
it
a great
all
hiding
onto
place.
he
Vyvyan.
properly kowtows to him. Yeah.
Then he's doubly angry at Vyvyan for not bothering, and then I'll give you 5 more seconds, and then bastard
Yeah.
straight away.
Yeah.
We skipped over the radio bit. I think it's a really small bit. I find it really
Ben
good.
Elton and Kate, the lesbian from Bottom.
Yes,
yeah.
again, it's like, was it your manager's idea that you amputate your arms? Yeah, originally, yeah. Yeah.
Again, another really great look for Cindy Shelley, isn't
What,
it? That
armless?
eyeshadow and everything.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
no, not
Yeah.
the really random. Ben Elton looks pretty convincing as a DJ.
I like her line where, like, her manager it's a parody of those pop music people that are completely manufactured when she's like, yeah, because I've written it down. Yeah, my music is all about urban alienation, apparently. Like, so I don't even know what my music's
Yeah, because
about.
it's a comment on the fact that the music biz would just sign you up for your look and then mold you into what they want you to be, isn't it?
Yeah, then I can't swim. Well, I can't even see. Says Ben.
And then a really nice detail that the water's coming out of the radio when it
Yes.
goes back to Rick.
Yeah,
like
that little world that we saw, or the disc jockey, like they live in the radio.
they
kind
are
of.
drowning. It's coming out everywhere. It's flooded, and it is incredible that then it jumps to apparently Vyvyan's building a submarine out of cardboard boxes.
It's wonderful. He's not even taking SPG.
He's building a submarine out of cardboard, which is obviously made out of cardboard, is obviously rubbish. And
You
yet
think
Rick
he's going to take it down to try and look at the Titanic?
And yet Rick is still. I don't suppose there's any room in that for me. Is there by any chance?
But like dying for a little glimmer of hope. You notice SPG's lost the Vyvyan haircut, which he had in the last episode we saw him. He had the hair, the puppet changed constantly.
I didn't really notice the haircut, but I did. Usually, I don't really pay any attention to the voice of SPG, but in this one, it was obvious who was doing the voice. Could you tell who was doing the voice?
I think it's Rick.
It was Rick.
Yeah.
So it made me wonder: has he been doing the voice all along? Because I don't think he has.
I think it might have been mixed up, but it was definitely Rick in this one.
It was, yeah. It was definitely Rick doing a Scottish accent. Yeah.
It
Like
might
the
have been him
little
all
reverse
along.
shot of it going onto Vyvyan's neck.
There's a lot of there's a lot of things played back. It's like when the thing is thrown at Rick, that pins into the door, and Ed Bide did the same thing. Did Ed Bide direct Series 6 of Red Dwarf? Well, he did the whole backwards episode anyway, so they did a lot of that stuff. But it's like when in Gunman of the Apocalypse, when he's like, you know,
the knife,
the
man
knife
bit,
throwing,
yeah.
you just do it all backwards and then just play it backwards. Yeah, it's
You mean they don't actually throw the knives at him?
a.
Yeah.
I like that the variety act bit in Mike's bedroom could have just been a silly cutaway thing, but it actually does not only become part of the plot, it saves the day.
That's what I mean. Like all the way through Flood, like there are little bits that are kind of planted, and then it ultimately it all does wrap up and make sense. Like even, I mean, obviously it doesn't make sense logically. Like no one's going to obviously be in a house that is 50 feet underwater, but it is really fun that the lion tamer is planted. And that he's obviously just randomly meant to be there, and then that is how they get away from the axe-wielding Alexei Sale.
Wikipedia says that the lion tamer was Robert Raven from Jerry Cottle's Circus.
Yeah, so they mentioned that on the commentary as well. I think Jerry Cottle was, God rest his soul, I think he died in 2021. I looked it up. He is responsible, or was responsible, for basically any of the circuses you'd have found in the UK.
Okay.
From like the 70s, 80s onwards. Like,
Right.
not that I've been to any of them, and there probably are listeners who wouldn't agree with having traveling circuses.
Animals and circuses are very rare, if not outright banned now.
It is, exactly. That's it. There aren't many more. There aren't many lion tamers left.
I'd like to
even
shake
if you bring
his
your own
hand.
hat. But
Do you
yeah,
like
it's
that bit?
what?
I'd like to shake his hand. Well, there you are. I've got his hand and just waves it. And then he offers it over to Vyvyan. Like, do you want to go? You know, okay. That's quite sweet. I like it when those two kind of get on for a moment.
Yeah, it's sort of reminiscent of the comic strip when they're fighting with the limbs, isn't it, in Mr. Jolly Lives Next Door? But it's a bit gross at the same time, but it's fun. It's
okay.
It's
Yeah.
fun. It's
Yeah.
not
So
really like
I would have liked
sickening.
to have seen Alexei Sale transform into the axe-wielding homicidal maniac just a minute sooner, so he could have killed the two people in the Narnia bit as well. Because
Oh,
I didn't
really?
like those. I like to not like those. I thought they needed some kind of comeuppance. They
okay.
felt.
I thought it was a bit odd that he wanders in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
and
It's just so he
nothing
can go
really
down into the
happens.
cellar to
Yeah.
get the axe,
Right,
but he could have
okay.
found an axe anyway, really, couldn't he?
Yeah, it's
But yeah.
it's sort of. I think it's just subverting your expectations
maybe
of what's going
it's-
to happen.
We've paid for this set. It cost
Yeah.
a lot.
But
Get,
anyway-
get our
and
money's
Let him
worth.
wander through.
As you say, things are kind of brought full circle. He ends up in the room with the lions, and they eat him. And then it's revealed that the water is receding, as after Noah's flood.
Yeah.
And on the horizon, there's SPG on like a little raft or water wings or something.
He's
It's
on
a
a
can of
can.
lager.
Okay.
I thought
It's a can of Indian Pale Ale.
I thought it would have been the Coke can to go full circle.
Yeah.
But that doesn't quite make sense that the Coke can wouldn't have been
Yeah,
outside for him to
yeah.
get. So I suppose that's why it wasn't done. But yeah, I like that it's kind of, so it's a biblical reference, obviously, from the end of Noah's story, but it's SPG and a lager can. So it's like there's hope, but still shit and naff in a young one's lens to all
Right.
this. I like that a lot.
Yeah, but he has survived, and they have as
yeah,
well. So
yeah.
there's
rainbow
not this ending
thing.
of like they're never going to be back. But if there had only been one series of the young
That's
ones,
not a bad ending, is it?
Yeah,
Because there's a bit of hope in the end, and it's all
kind of wraps up,
and it's all
nicely.
silly still. Yeah.
One little nugget I like from the commentary with Ed By and Paul Jackson is that I think Ed asked Paul if Vyvyan's head studs ever fell off, because on Red
Yes.
Dwarf the H was always falling off of Chris Barry, but apparently they stayed on always.
Yeah, which goes to show how great they were stuck on. Or maybe he did actually screw them into his
Yeah.
head. For the
And
sake of
the
part.
makeup lady, I can't remember her full name, but her first name was Vyvyan.
Viv.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what for you guys are standout moments in this episode?
I really do like the spitting and pissing down visual bit. People's Poet as well, I think, is really naff and funny.
I was going to say the comic strip
Yeah.
of the People's Poet is obviously a standout moment.
The phlegm, like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
pint
yeah.
of phlegm
Excellent,
for
excellent.
spitting down. It almost has like, you know what they call the cheese pull in pizza adverts. It's
Alright, I
got like
get what
that
you mean.
stringy
Yeah.
bit from it. Yeah.
Which is not actual cheese, it's kind of glue for those
Yeah,
adverts.
yeah.
It's-
But
it's-
the gob is not appetizing at all.
I don't know. I kind of like
What, you find it
self-harm
appetising?
wise want to down that when I see that because it's in a pint glass. Like,
This is what I meant last week, Matt, when I said I think you would
like,
happily
who dares
move
me
in.
to down that? No, don't do it. Do you dare me? Do you dare me? No, please don't. I'll do it. If you want me to do it, I'll do it. Please don't do it. Disgusting.
You would happily
Yeah.
happily down the gob. But equally, you couldn't even drink the Esther Ransons, so I don't know how much you'd get on with a glass of gob.
That's true, but they're very different things, aren't they?
Anyone listening
Oh,
should
gob is
try.
much more appetizing than marmalade.
Do try and make an Esther Ranson of Pernod Ouzo, marmalade and salt, and you will find it is not particularly enjoyable.
And now I think it's time for a quiz. Have you got your sphincters ready, boys?
Yes. There you
Nice.
go.
And what are you going for, Paul?
All right, I'm going to go with this.
Nice. Okay.
Do you not need to explain the rules of how quizzes work?
I think you've done it enough, Matt. I think we know there's 10 questions. If
Yeah.
we need a tiebreaker, I have one prepared.
Okay.
Whoever gets the most wins. Okay, so can you quote the opening line to the show in Latin, please?
Dominus ad nauseum.
Correct.
Well
and
done.
not for a bonus point, but just can you remember what it is that means?
Well, ad nauseum means forever. Something like that, ad nauseum? Or am I thinking of
Nauseum is to
ad
be sick,
infinitum.
isn't it?
No,
To be
so I put this
ill?
in. I said this at the top of the show.
Yeah.
You don't listen. Basically, it means either God or Lord to the point of being sick.
Okay,
Okay. So anyway, you got that point. So that's one to Paul.
thank you.
This episode features the sketch duos Arden and Frost and Hale and Pace. What was the name of Arden and Frost's 1991 cop spoof sitcom? That was Paul.
Oh, fucking hell.
If you don't know, you shouldn't buzz.
No, hang on, I do know. It's,
The name of their cop spoof
Yeah,
sitcom
yeah,
from
yeah.
1991. I'll finish the question to give you thinking time.
no, I can't remember. I would have known this last week, but I
Buzz
can't
too
remember.
soon.
Yeah.
Matt, do you know?
Something like the Lazarus Boys.
No,
No.
you're mixing up their double act there, but you have got Lazarus.
Lazarus.
Oh, Lazarus and Dingwall.
Yeah, you got there in
Okay.
the end, but
Alright.
I think you're out of time.
Yeah,
so-
I wouldn't have got it if you hadn't said Lazarus.
Right, so that's still just one to Paul. And we're on to question 3. How many hours does Mike say Rick has been looking out of the window? Matt?
3.
Correct. Which is incredible, isn't it? He's been pretending that
Yeah.
he's super glued there for that long. Okay, so that's 1-1. We're on to question 4.
I like that Vyvyan doesn't remember doing it because he hasn't. Did I? Oh, that sounds like a great joke.
Probably had done it in the past. Okay, question number 4. What day of the week did Rick put his half an apple in the fridge?
I mean, this is a 1 in 7 chance. Monday.
Incorrect.
Okay.
Do you want to have a stab, Matt?
Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
Fucking hell.
But,
Okay.
I mean, am I giving in that?
Yeah, well.
Why not?
Yeah.
You didn't buzz in.
Well, because he beat me.
No, I'm joking. Okay, so that's now...
I remember dialogue, just not facts that I need to research.
So that's now 2 to Matt, 1 to Paul. And we're on to question 5. Rick suggests Neil's guitar amp gets put in front of the door.
Jimi Hendrix once pissed on that.
Matt is predicting correctly that I wanted Jimi Hendrix.
Okay.
Neil
I
says,
purposely held off saying that in the thing because I thought that's going to be a quiz.
I thought you were going to ask what the make was. Okay,
Marshall.
all right, yeah.
I was going to bring it up. Well, funny you should say that because on to the next question. But that's now 3 to Matt and 1 to Paul. Question number 6. And presumably to avoid product placement, Neil's Marshall amp is featured, but with a different spelling. Can you spell how it appears in the episode?
No. Can you?
Farshall.
Spell it out for me, please.
Farshall.
Nope.
No.
Oh, so it's nearly that.
Well,
Is it Farshall with an F?
no. There's no F. It's still an M.
All right, so is it Marshall with an S instead of a C?
No, I'm just going to tell you.
Go on.
So it's martial as in like martial arts. So it's
Right, okay.
Martial.
Okay.
Very good.
I
Very
thought
good.
that was interesting. I thought
Yeah,
that was interesting.
that is good, yeah. Farshall, can you spell that? M?
Well, it's like you're going to have to spell it because
Yeah.
otherwise it's yes.
All right.
Anyway, I thought that was an interesting detail
Yeah.
that they changed martial amp. Okay, I can't remember who we are with points, but Matt's leading with 3.
Matt's
was it?
got 3 and I've
And
got
you got
1.
one, right.
Yeah.
Question number 7. All still to play for. Whose voice is it that we hear tell Alexei during his halftime report? That's enough. We're going on.
Paul Jackson.
Correct, Matt. It is Paul Jackson.
Yeah.
He's not credited, but it,
Yeah,
it
I
is,
recognise
it
that.
is
Yeah.
there that he's saying it in quite a camp way. It's like, that's enough. We're going on. Okay, that's now 4 to Matt and 1 to Paul, and we're on to question number 8. What is the character's name of the Lion Tamer? That was Paul first.
Yes, Paul.
I can't remember.
That isn't what I've got on my card.
I don't know. I
Not
can't
having a
remember.
wild stab in the dark.
Andy.
No.
No.
Jerry the Lion Tamer?
No,
Something
so
like
the
that?
character's real name.
Yeah.
Bobby.
Bobby.
Bobby the Lion.
All right.
Tamer.
Well, Matt's got it 1, but let's
Yeah.
have the final 2.
Okay. Question number 9. What type of hat is on the skeleton?
A trilby?
Nope.
Bowler hat?
Yeah. No,
No?
it's
Oh, sorry.
sombrero.
Ah,
All right.
okay.
I thought you'd both be like, oh, that's really obvious.
I said trilby. I actually meant fedora, but which is still wrong.
But you're still
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
No, it's a sombrero that's on the skeleton
Okay.
throughout. Okay, on to question number 10. Matt, I believe, has got 4 and Paul is still on 1.
Yep.
So Matt has 1, but here we are. Question number 10. I do have a bonus if we want it. The episode Flood is the shortest episode.
Huh.
It comes in on the Blu-ray. I have to stress, this is what I've checked on the Blu-ray. Flood comes in at 30 minutes and 28 seconds. Can you tell me which you think the longest episode of the first series is?
The first episode, the pilot.
Nope.
Mm.
Not Demolition.
Boring.
No.
Okay.
That's
So then
close. That's
gonna-
close second. So I'm
Bomb?
just I thought
it
out of
Bomb?
interest for
Yeah.
this last
Uh-huh.
one, and because I was running out of ideas for questions, Bomb is the longest episode of the first series. That's 35 minutes and 11 seconds
Okay.
on
What
the
was my
Blu-ray.
second guess?
And then Boring is 35 minutes 8 seconds. So
It's
Bomb and
seconds in it.
Boring very
Yeah.
similar. And then it is interesting because they talk about them all being 35 minutes or so, don't they? So Demolition is 33 minutes, 23 seconds. Oil is 32 minutes, 37 seconds. Interesting is 31 minutes and 54 seconds. And then, as I've just said, it's only 30
because
minutes.
there were
28
little
for Flood.
trims in
So-
UK Gold repeats. I remember.
Yeah. But apparently, when these went out, like they would go to the BBC and say, "Look, we've gone over a bit," and the BBC would make the exception of like, "All right,
Yeah.
well, we can make it work in the schedule." And then by the second series, they said,
That's
"We'll just give you
fascinating.
35 minutes per
Yeah.
episode." But like now, there is no way in hell
yeah.
they would be like, yeah, we'll just move. Yeah, we'll just start you 5 minutes earlier.
They said
you know.
in the commentaries that what would happen now is they just cut them off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before you lose the ending.
That's it. So it is incredible that because they went over, they let them do it, and then they just gave them 35 minutes for the next one. But anyway, they are. I thought that was sort of interesting. Do you want the tiebreaker? Do you want the tiebreaker for fun?
Yeah, go on.
Can you name the full title of the comic Vyvyan is reading?
I've got it written down.
Oh, no, don't know.
No wild stabs in the dark. Not going to try and remember.
I can't quite. Yeah, but I've got it written down
Go
word
on.
for word.
Well, I've got it
which
written
doesn't
down
count.
here. I can read out
Ange's
the answer.
probably got it written down in
You're
the
not going to
answers.
guess any of it, no? Not even a bit. It's SS Death Camp Criminal Battalion Go to Monte Casino for the Massacre. And the title of the series of comics is Warrior on the front, which, Anyway,
So
I thought that was a bit of fun. And not... Oh,
That was
heckling.
completely made for the episode. It's like been designed. The art department have gone.
Interesting
to
though,
town.
considering Rick is. I mean, I think it's Neil would say he's the real pacifist, isn't he? But Rick's an anarchist. But
Yeah.
it's like, why has he
Yeah,
got
like
that?
he's bought this comic. Listen, read the title. What do you think it's going to be about? And then looks and goes, "Oh God, it's so reactionary."
And then
Like, what
he's
are you-
moaning
yeah.
about war,
Yeah, it's
bloody war.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought that's a
Right.
nice detail. Anyway,
Well-
so well done, Matt. You won that one. And I think at the end of this series, then Matt is the winner, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
And-
got 3, you got 2, and I got 1. So all to play for in series 2.
And speaking of series 2,
Are we going to do series 2?
right? So we end our
About the live
series.
ones?
We end our series 1 there. With knowledge that the makers didn't have at the time, which was that there will be a new series. We'll be back with series 2 next week.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we-
we're not
Actually,
gonna
hang on. Should we all go for a curry and talk about whether or not we should do series 2?
you know what? I'm just
That
glad.
sounds good.
I'm glad that we did series 1 our way. Okay,
Yeah,
we made it the
exactly.
way we wanted to make it.
Which
No,
was
so-
the carbon copy of what we did for Bottom.
yeah.
Shambolically. No, I think I like to think people have enjoyed listening to us talk about the young ones. We are talking Bottom. I didn't know whether we should week on week sort of do a proper comparison of
Yeah,
Richie,
I-
Eddie, and
I-
Vyvyan and Rick. I think we
No,
talked
we
about it. I
did
think
that.
it would have been a bit forced
we
to make
we
it a
compared
segment.
we compared the characters in the Many Faces of Rick Mail, so I think we did that.
Yeah, exactly. So we didn't want to go over the same points, but I have really enjoyed revisiting the young ones.
I think this was long overdue for us. I know
Yeah.
you was on the fence with us doing each episode of the young one, not to throw you under the bus.
Well,
But I
I
thought
think that-
the
are you
exploding
talking
bus.
to Paul there? Because it was Paul, not me.
I've always said we should do this. The time I said we're not doing each episode of the Young Ones was when we had one episode for the character of Rick on the Many Faces of Rick Mail.
But when we were doing Talking Bottom many moons ago, just going through Bottom, I think we at that point talked about should we ever do the
We
young
moot it,
ones?
and we never
And we
never fully
we said maybe
decided
one
whether
day.
it should be a one-off episode or
Yeah,
12
I-
episodes.
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. Anyway,
I just
what
think
I'm
there's
saying
so
is I'm
much to
glad
talk
we.
about the young ones. I'm glad we're all on the same page now with it.
Yeah, I think it was more just timings as to when we would do it and be able to give it the airing that we wanted to. So obviously now that we're heading to Rick Mail Festival at the end of May,
where we'll
it
be
feels-
interviewing.
Yeah, we'll be interviewing Paul Jackson, who of course was the producer and director responsible for the young ones happening. It's going to be really exciting to be there, having him live in the room with an audience. You can look on our socials to get the link to buy ticket. And I know it is just sort of Rick Mail Comedy Festival. The website, you'll be able to get them through there, won't you? If you're keen to come, we'd love to see you there. We really enjoyed interviewing Ed last year, and I think Paul Jackson is going to be as good, if not even better. That's my
And we've
feeling.
got lots of great clips lined up for him to watch. He's going to be sharing some of his favourite bits as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of good stuff.
Well, especially because we've also got Happy Families screening with the Rick episode. Same day, a couple of hours
Same
later.
day, a couple of
on
hours
the
later, yeah.
Saturday.
Next day, pub quiz.
And then on the Sunday night, we're going to do a big old pub quiz on. I think we'll do it on all things Rick, won't
Yeah.
we? With it being the
I
Rick Fest.
reckon we should also have like a competition for best costume or something like that.
You reckon?
Yeah, maybe.
Well,
Maybe.
We'll see. We'll see.
Anyway,
So this
alright.
is wrapping up series 1. We are going to have a couple of special interview episodes. We definitely have Mark Arden and Steve Frost coming up. We're hoping that we'll have more of the cast and crew of the young ones to share with you very soon as well. And we'll be back with series 2 in the coming weeks.
In the meantime, we're at Talking Bottom on all the social medias. Give us a follow. And our book's out as well, Talking Bottom, A Guide to the Cult Sitcom. Right, I think that's all we've got time for.
Thanks,
Right.
everyone.
Goodbye. Love you.
Bye.